Hi, I'm Steve Rose. I've been a chef for 38 years, was the owner of the greenest restaurant in the entire San Francisco Bay Area, and now I'm a farmer here at Rose Ranch. We do things green around here. What sets me apart is that green is not just a buzzword like a lot of people use. Green is an operative word, and it really is easy to do. I'm going to share with you my secrets on how to do this at home. We're going to have fun, and living green, living truly green, is really a blast. I believe that people want to learn how to live this way, they just don't know how to go about it. And that's the whole purpose of the show, is to teach people how to do it. I'm going to show you the way, show you the pathway to green living. Welcome to the Organic Rose. Welcome to another episode of the Organic Rose. Here's my buddy, Mr. Pollo, or chicken. I'm going to make a dish today called chicken or pollo matone. It's more of an Italian style dish, but more than anything, we're going to stress about using everything in the chicken so nothing goes to waste. We'll take some of this fat and go ahead and render it down and then use it for future dishes instead of olive oil, and it makes just a really good, we call it, and it's also called schmaltz. So we're going to render this down. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and cut some off right now. So every part of the chicken, what I want to emphasize, can be used, so nothing should be thrown away. So let me go ahead and put some fire over here. Get this burner going, there we go. And we're going to go ahead and render this fat down. You don't have to use it today, you can use it tomorrow or the next day. And here's some more right here. Always make sure that your knives are sharp. The easiest way to cut yourself is with a dull knife. Trust me, I've been there before. Okay. So pollo matone is basically brick chicken. We're going to set that over there. So I'm going to take the chicken and I'm going to split it in half. So we're going to leave the backbone intact. That's going to act as a hinge. And then we'll go ahead and cut the breastbone right down here. It's really easy. If you've never broken a chicken down before, I would strongly suggest learning how to do it. And, take one day when you've got some extra time, go to your local butcher and take him or her a bottle of wine, of your favorite wine, and say, teach me how to break this chicken down. And I'm sure they will. So there we go. We just split it right along the breastbone. Okay. Pollo matone. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and open it up, just hinge it up like that. And there you have it. Get some more fat in there to render down. But see how nicely it opens up? It just kind of splays open like that. Okay. And now we're going to go ahead and season it. I use a mixture of kosher salt and sea salt together. And somebody in my family many, many years ago told me that you always should salt your chicken very liberally, so I will do that. So we're going to do, I've got a little bit of paprika here that you can make yourself, actually. If you grow some sweet peppers, just go ahead and dry the peppers and then put them, you can use like a coffee grinder to grind them up after they're dried, and voila, you have your own paprika. And let's do some cracked black pepper. Very nice. So pollo matone is, the English translation of that is brick chicken. And once we get ready, we're going to put this chicken on the fire on the barbecue over here, and we're going to go ahead and get it on there, get the bottom, the inside, get it nice and crisp. And once it's crisp, then we're going to go ahead and put some foil wrapped bricks on top of it. So you're probably wondering why I would do something like that. Well, I will tell you. When you put the bricks on the chicken, somehow, and I don't know how it does this, but it makes the skin really crispy. And it seals the chicken, it sears it actually. So putting weight on it, you'd think that you're expelling a lot of the liquid out of there, but you're really not. Let's turn that down a little bit. See, you can see how that's rendering down some nice fat. And you can use that for scrambling some eggs. You can use that for whatever you would use any type of fat for, but whether it be butter or olive oil, it's a great substitute. You just put it in a jar, keep it in the refrigerator. It will solidify in the refrigerator, so not a problem. You just scoop a little bit out with a spoon and put it in your pan for your next dish. So this episode is about using all of it. So I want to stress to you that every part of this chicken can be used in one way or another. And then, after we're done with the brick chicken, let's say we eat half of it. Although with the film crew around here, that might not happen because they love eating the brick chicken. But let's say we just eat half of it. I'm going to show you what else to do with the chicken. The bones can be used for stock. Let's go ahead and open this up a little bit. So many, many uses. Right. This is the chicken tender in here. The wings, obviously, the legs, the thighs. This is the breastbone right here and the breastbone over here. Doesn't that look good? And sometimes what I'll also do is I will go ahead and snap the wing joint. And then we can use that for stock as well. Here we go. So all the parts of the chicken can be used one way or another. And you can see here I've taken off the first joint of the wingtips, and that can be used for stock. Or you could take the stock after you've made the stock and make a sauce out of it. The rest of the chicken, the drumstick, the thigh, the rest of the wing, the breast is all going to go onto the barbecue with a couple of foil wrapped bricks on top of it to make our chicken motoni, or our brick chicken. But there shouldn't be any waste whatsoever. And even when I'm done cooking the brick chicken, I will go ahead and remove the backbone, which is right here. I'll just cut it right along here, and we'll serve these two parts. And this part, the backbone, I'll keep in the freezer and stockpile it to make broth out of. And you just kind of keep stockpiling your bones, and you could have them when you have a nice rainy day outside, you want to make a big pot of chicken broth, you've got everything in your freezer all ready to go. So, the magic of television. Here's a brick chicken that I've already prepared, and you can see when the drumstick is really loose means it's done. And that's actually pulling away from the meat. But see how nice and crispy it is on top? All the juices have been seared in because of the brick. That's going to be delicious. So we're going to go ahead and take this one that's not cooked yet and put it on the fire. And then I go ahead and take these foil wrapped bricks and place them on top. So that's going to do its job of searing and keeping all the juice inside. It's probably going to go about I'd say 6 minutes on one side. Then we'll remove the brick. Take these tongs and go ahead and flip the chicken over and then put the brick back on it. So you're searing, in essence, you're searing both sides. So you can see this side as well. It's nice and crispy. So that's all there is to it. That's how you make brick chicken. And it's not very time consuming, but we're gonna use the entire chicken. We have used it all. So it's all been cooked and it's gonna be delicious. Now at this point, you can take a boning knife. What I would suggest is just some poultry shears and then go ahead and break it into serving pieces and you're done. Put it on a platter and you're ready to go. Pair it with some of your favorite sides. It goes great with a nice salad, maybe a pasta, and it is done. So if you have a little bit of chicken left over, which you might, then you can go ahead and make like a chicken salad sandwich for lunch the next day. Or you could shred the chicken and put it over a salad. Lots of things to do without wasting anything. And buying the entire chicken, again, is the most cost-effective way to purchase it. Look at that. I think I'm gonna have a taste of it. Oh man, that's good. Very simple seasonings: kosher salt, sea salt, paprika, a little bit of garlic under the skin, and you are done. Very simple. Simple is good. For me, simple in the kitchen is you're just bringing out the natural flavors of the product of that chicken. And the fact that we started with a really fresh local chicken, it's delicious. Oh man. It's got a little bit of a salty edge to it, which is how it should be. And remember, I've salted it very liberally on the outside with the kosher salt and the sea salt, and then the paprika, some garlic slices underneath the skin, and you're done. If you want to add some herbs to it, fresh oregano, fresh basil, fresh parsley. The cavity under the skin offers you places to tuck all that in. And then, so you'll get the flavor of those spices, those herbs, into the chicken, but you won't necessarily see them until it's time to serve it and enjoy it. Chicken pollo matone is one of my favorite chicken dishes, and again, simple, easy, enjoyable for company, for your family, for friends. I know you'll like it. Okay, so now we're on day 2 of that wonderful brick chicken. Here's another Dutch oven from Lodge. A little bit of grapeseed oil. We'll let that heat up a bit. It's already getting hot. What do you think that is? Of garlic, of course. So this is a neat way to use leftovers and not be the same thing that you just reheating. You're doing something totally different. We better turn this fire down a bit. Okay, and then some sweet peppers. We have yellow and green California Wonders. Oh, it's starting to smell good already out here. And then these are yellow onions that I went ahead and marinated in a little bit of tomato juice for about an hour or so. And give it a little stir here. So basically what I'm doing is I'm what's called sweating. You put the cover on this and sweat the peppers with the onions and the garlic, or the garlic a little bit. The onions are not in there yet, but they should be. That's going to go in there. That sweat. This is one of my secret ingredients. So I think you'll like this sauce. These are canned anchovies, but when you add anchovies like these to a sugo sauce, it brings the sauce, it adds another level of tier of flavor to it. And by the time the sauce is all done, nobody will know that there's anchovies in there, but it just gives it just a different level of flavor. And that way you can definitely cut back on the salt. I wouldn't even add any salt to it. This will be your salt contribution. Italians call it sugo. We call it sauce. Italian Americans call it gravy. But whatever you call it, it's good. So this is a way of just using up that chicken in a different format. What am I going to use the sugo for? Well, actually, tonight I'm going to go ahead and make a batch of polenta and possibly put the polenta on the barbecue in triangle shapes and barbecue it. There we go. Okay, let me stir it. So the sugo can go on polenta, can go on any kind of pasta. It could go over roasted potatoes. It's great on rice. Just some really nice simple steamed rice or rice pilaf with a little bit of mushroom and green peas in it. Give that a couple minutes, I'll turn the heat up. This is all the chicken that I went ahead and pulled off, that half a chicken that was left over, all the meat. And in here, these are all the bones that I pulled the meat off of. Bones and some of the wing tips and that sort of thing. I'm just gonna put some water in here. And this will be our course for day 3. So anything in your kitchen is very easily reusable. There's so much food that's wasted in our country. And I'm guilty of it as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect either. But just with a little bit of imagination and creativity and a little bit of knowledge, you can create different dishes from essentially leftovers. So this is just the bones. There's some fresh basil in there and fresh garlic in there that we roasted it with for the brick chicken. And that'll simmer, allow it to simmer for hour and a half. These are fresh tomatoes that I've peeled and just very coarsely chopped up, and a little bit of sauce. That smells so good. I mean, for me, with a day like today and it's kind of overcast and chilly out, this is going to be a perfect dish. But don't be afraid to get creative with what you have left in your kitchen. There's so many things that could be done with leftovers. And I mean, if you're creative enough, you could invite family and friends over and they would even never know it's leftovers, because you're just doing just a very nice dish. It's just something different than it originally started out to be. Okay, let's put some chicken in. So this is a combination of the white meat and the dark meat. And there's, as you can see, there's quite a bit of meat in here. So for sure we don't want to waste anything. Okay. And really a sauce or a sugo can be made pretty much out of anything. What I forgot to put in here was mushrooms, but oh well. And that's starting to simmer a little bit. Another good thing to do is okay, let's say it's Monday and you've done a petrali sole dish, and then you have half the dish left. You could very easily just wrap it up and freeze it, and then a week later you decide to have clams, so you go ahead and steam some clams and mussels together with some wine and garlic and parsley and butter, and you don't eat all those after they're cooked. You can go ahead and put those in the freezer, and then a couple days later, then you go ahead and make a chowder out of all that. Combine all that out of your freezer and add some fresh vegetables to it and maybe some heavy cream or tomatoes if you want to do the Manhattan base, and then there you have a totally another dish. Your family's already forgotten that they had petrale sole 2 weeks ago. They've forgotten that they had steamed clams and mussels a week ago. You just stash that in the freezer and then pull it out for another use. And they're again just being very creative. This is simmering nicely. Other things like, the more tender cuts of meat, which I'm not a huge fan of, whether they be ribeye steaks or New Yorks or fillets, those can take on another appearance also. You would have them one night as a steak, nice medium rare. Whatever's left, that meat can go into the freezer, or the next day you can stew that down in your pressure cooker with some vegetables and make a stew out of it. So now day one it was medium rare. Day two it's going to be falling off the bone, stew tender. I just went in offset and grabbed some of our wine, our Primitivo wine that we make. And, oh, look at that, there's an empty glass there. How the hell that happened. But I'm going to add some. I do love adding the red wine to the sugo. These braising pans are amazing because all these little bumps right here allow all the condensation to come up, get trapped in these bumps, and go back into the product that you're cooking. So vitamins and minerality wise, you're not losing anything. Salud. So your buddy Dave the butcher, you stop into his shop and you say, Dave, when are you going to have chicken thighs on special? I love organic chicken thighs. They give me the best flavor, so much more than a chicken breast. And Dave the butcher says, oh, you know what? In about a week and a half, we're going to be running Sonoma Red's chicken thigh, organic chicken thighs on sale. So they're going to be like 50% off. So when I hear that, I like, okay, Dave, you'll see me next week. So I go in next week into Dave's shop, and I get a dozen chicken thighs, bone in. And then what I do is I bring them home, and I put them in a food saver bag. So if you're in a super tight budget and you're a student, you have access to a kitchen, pastas obviously are always a great one, but learn how to make polenta. Polenta is not very expensive at all either. And you have a sauce like this that's going to be delicious and wonderful. This is a remnant of what you had prepared a couple days ago. Oh man, it smells so good. And then make a nice sauce for that polenta, and it's not going to cost you a lot of money. I mean, with $20 between this sauce and a half bag of polenta, you're set. You could feed 4 people for $20. You know, if you're a professional that's been working all day and you don't have a lot of time to prepare anything, I would strongly suggest that you invest in a slow cooker. Those are amazing. You put them on in the morning before you go to work, and then allow them to cook like 6 to 8 hours. And then when you come home, when you arrive at home, your dinner's done already. And all you do is dish it up, toss a salad, and you're ready to go. Again, using a slow cooker will take advantage of less expensive cuts of beef and or vegetables. There's nothing wrong with doing pasta with just roasted vegetables on them. And that's going to, some really nice mushrooms that maybe you saute in a little bit of organic butter and garlic, and then toss the pasta with those mushrooms. That's pretty good and pretty inexpensive. So learning how to do those things, another reason to get to be buddies with your butcher. You're not going to find that in the big chain supermarkets, but you will find that in small butcher shops, neighborhood butcher shops. And they'll go the extra mile and help teach you how to bone out a chicken. And it's really, a chicken's going to tell you how to bone it out. There's different lines within the meat, and you just run your knife right through that and you just separate all the cartilage. It's pretty easy. Okay, I think we should put some more wine in here. So like I said, this sugo is going to go over some nice polenta this evening. And you know, I might not even barbecue it. I may just cook it and stir it up. Polenta's a great, it's very versatile. That is ready. It's time to go manja. Stay tuned for more hints and tips in the kitchen and true organic living. I'll catch you next time on The Organic Rose.